SRE as an SRE engineer. So the next thing is, what is SRE and why does it matter? So far we saw about a lot of items like what do you do, who to learn, and what does an SRE should learn, right? So just to talk about the SRE, like what is SRE and why does it matter? So just imagine you're responsible. Okay, you've joined this team and you're given a system, a very critical system. So you're responsible for keeping that system running. Um, what happens is like everything seems fine until one day where you find, okay, you log in for that day and you find that the system is facing a major outage. So the moment the system is getting major outage, what happens is we as a customers will start to send complaints. We start to update that in Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everywhere. We say that, okay, see, this application is not working and this is not reliable, right? So that's from the customer's end. So as an engineers, what they do is they scramble, they just run here and there to diagnose the issue. On top of that, the leadership, they want only one thing, that is the answer. Why is the application went down? Why there is an outage? So now, what if there are a structured way to minimize that chaos? So what happens is the customers keep on sending complaints, the engineers were running here and there to find the issue, and the leadership on the other side, they demand for the answers. They want to know only one thing, why there's an outage. So in middle of all these, where do you think the SREs come in? What does SRE does? So there are many definitions that we all know, right? As an engineer, he does this, he does that, everything. But the most practical part when it comes to site reliability engineers is it's an engineering discipline. I would say it's not just another operations discipline or anything else or testing discipline. It's just an engineering discipline which is devoted to help the organization to sustainably achieve the appropriate level of reliability in its systems, in its services, and in the product. So that's the thing that we need. So just remember these words because in the interview you might get it. So they might ask you like, what is a site reliability engineering? Just give me an example. Just define that. So site reliability engineering is an engineering discipline which is devoted to help the organization. It's not just about people or person. It's just about helping the organization to achieve the appropriate level. When I say it's not, they don't have a right number of right level. It's appropriate level of reliability in its three things. One is system, services, products. So we normally call it as SSP, that is systems, services, and products. So just remember these things. So what happens is, why does it matter? Why does the SRE matter? Why is he required? So the first thing is it's an engineering discipline, as I'm telling you again and again and again. SRE is not just about reacting to incidents. They don't react to any incidents. All they do is they are proactive because their task is to build on the principles to improve the reliability. They were already improving that. They are already proactive because instead of just fixing things when they break, the SRE automates the process. So to automate the process, what they do is they implement the observability and they create self-healing system. When they do both of these, they don't need to run behind the issue. Instead, they have already fixed that, or they are like proactive because they've already implemented the observability, which is they do monitoring, and they knew at which point the system will break and at which point they need the fix. So they create the self-healing systems as well. And the next part is the sustainability. So achieving reliability at scale must be sustainable. So because the SRE ensures teams don't burn out by automating repetitive tasks and reducing operational toil. Instead, if the engineers spend more time fighting fires than improving system, that's not sustainable. So what the engineers does is they aim to fix that. They aim to fix the manual task, right? So they make it automated. They make it automated. And then the next thing is appropriate level of reliability, because not every systems that we use, we know because we are not using them 100% of time. So not every system needs 100% of time. Some services can tolerate occasional disruptions. Like I told you, when I'm trying to log into HDFC Bank or to LIC Insurance at late night, they were not up. They say that it's not up. they're making some patch updates, they're making some updates, they're posting some changes. So it doesn't mean that every system has to be 100% uptime, because the SREs, like what we do is we help the organizations to define some reliability goals. So when I say reliability goals, the very first point it goes back, which is balancing the speed and the reliability, which is balancing the performance, the cost, and the user expectations. So how are we going to do is through the SLIs and SLOs. So now, so far we saw about what does the SRE do. So they don't run behind the issues; they fix the issues proactively, and then they have set up the observability, and they do self-healing systems. So why does we matter? Why does the SREs matter? Why do we require? So SRE matters because any 1% of downtime is expensive during the operational hours, during the work hours. And the manual operations don't scale, right? You cannot scale the manual operations. You cannot bring in 1,000 people at the same point of time, and you cannot scale them. But instead, the automated tasks can be scaled, because you can spin up more machines, you can bring in more agents, and then you can automate those tasks, right? So two things. One is the downtime is very expensive, it's very costly. The manual operations don't scale. So without SRE, there will be repeated outages that frustrates the customers and damage the reputations, and there will be overworked engineers who struggle with endless firefighting instead of innovating, because they always run behind the issues. They fix it and then they find something else is breaking, and they run behind that and then they fix it. But SREs, they will never run behind that. They keep on fixing the issues. I mean, they keep on proactively fixing the issues, so they don't get any issues. So you don't find any overworked engineers when you have an SRE in your team. If you don't have an SRE, you will not have a clear metrics to measure the reliability, which leads to poor decision making. And with SRE, what happens is the organizations gain proactive reliability management. So instead of doing reactive fixes, they do proactive fixes. And then the automation and scalability to reduce the manual workload. And then they do blameless incident learning to continuously improve the system rather than blaming other people. So in many times I would say this one, like SRE is something like a pit crew in Formula One. So we have all have watched the Formula One car race, right? The game. So what the pit crew does is their job is not to fix things when the car breaks. It's to keep it running optimally, prevent failures, and ensure peak performance. Because when the car comes in, they don't fix the issue. They don't run behind a tire that is burnt, or that is broke, or that has been repaired. Instead, they fix it proactively, so that anytime the car will never break and that will stop in the middle. So that's how the SRE should work. The pit crews, they fill the gas, right? They check for the brakes, they check for the tires, they check for everything before the car even enters the field. So that is how the pit crew, that's how the SRE should work. So because again, SRE is not just about reliability, it's about creating sustainable, scalable, and efficient system that evolve with the business needs. So any doubts so far in this? I mean, are you able to follow me in terms of SRE? I think I'm